right, so today's adventure was cleaning up the greenhouse and getting all my houseplants ready to move out onto the porch. This is our porch and it looks very bare right now. I normally have plants all over it, but in the winter, they have to go in the greenhouse in order for them not to die. Last winter, a year ago, this past winter, I did not put them in the greenhouse and many of my houseplants died. So we invested in a greenhouse this year. I don't love having houseplants in my house just because of like the little gnats and bugs that you can get on them. So I really like keeping them out on my screened-in porch. So we have been, my oldest daughter, Chelsea, helped me a ton today before she went home, cleaning up all the plants. So let me tell you what we did. We took anything that was root bound, took it out of its pot and put it in a bigger pot. But before we put it in that bigger pot, we cleaned the pot really well with hot water and rubbing alcohol. You want to make sure your pot is nice and sterile and clean and free of any bacteria or fungus or bugs or anything else. So this is an example. This little spider plant here was root bound and it had to go into a bigger pot. I also have a couple spider plants in the back, as you can see. There were 3 in a pot and it was completely root bound and I had to split those up. I gave one to my youngest daughter and I split it into 2 and moved it into a different pot, but I actually had to cut those roots with a knife. It was so root bound. So you really want to be careful. Whatever's root bound needs to always go in, move up to a bigger pot. Last time I did that was about 10 months ago. My oldest daughter actually did it while we were on vacation. She was here, she was bored, so she decided to start repotting plants for me, which was great. The other thing I did, anything that was dead, I got out of here. There were just a few things that were dead. And then anything that had brown leaves on, I trimmed up and got all the brown leaves off everything. And then we fertilized everything really well. And I'll put a picture at the end of the video of what fertilizer we've been using. But in between every plant, we were washing down our pruning shears with rubbing alcohol really well so that you're not spreading a disease. If one plant has a disease, you're not spreading it from plant to plant. So you can just kind of see everything looks so good right now. I'm very excited. I do have a little bit more work to do, but I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up on how beautiful everything looked. And if you watched, well, you didn't watch, but I'll add some pictures in my video of some new plants that I bought. The girls and I went to Austin, Texas, and we went to 3 different plant stores. One was like a plant boutique, and we bought this plant here, which is a pretty rare plant. The plant was 3 times the size, and it was completely root bound. And it was in a bigger pot. So Chelsea divided it into 3 different pieces and it still was a nice, good, beautiful size plant. And so for $32, which was expensive for a plant, I was able to divide it into 3, or Chelsea did, and we got 3 nice, beautiful plants that were, you know, about a little over $9 each, $9.50 each, or whatever it ended up being, which is a complete bargain because this plant on Etsy right now sells for like $60 because it's a very rare, expensive plant. I got some of my plants at the Master Garden plant sale that was held on Saturday. Bought a few things from there that were house plants, but also bought some vegetables and tomatoes. This polka dot plant was not looking so good. Chelsea repotted it and we staked it up and fertilized it, and it's already looking so much better. This is one of my new plants, the rattlesnake plant. I love that plant, it is so cool. And then like on this little thing. It isn't herbs in there. There's just plants in there. But this one of them was dead. So I just put some of the plants that I've been propagating in the other pots, and now it's a cute little planter again. So again, all these plants will go out onto the patio on these various plant stands, but we've got next weekend, they're predicting a pretty cold snap, so they're going to stay in the greenhouse until probably next Monday, so not too long. These Christmas cactus, actually Thanksgiving cactus, I'll probably put in a different pot and maybe even put them together in the same pot. I have to go look for a pot. I already put one in here, and you can see the difference. So this one is supposed to be a Christmas cactus, is what they told me. And this is an old one that I had. Do you see how sharp those edges are? And this one's supposed to be a Thanksgiving cactus, is what they told me. The edges are less, if you can see, next to each other. Here's the Christmas cactus next to the Thanksgiving cactus. There's a lot more points on the Christmas cactus than there is on the Thanksgiving cactus. So yeah, this is what I've been working on today, cleaning up the greenhouse and getting the plants all ready to move out. Now I'm going to show you, this is a wandering Jew. So here's a plant. I've had this for a couple of years. There's a dirty dog toy in there too. I've had this plant for a couple of years, and I planted it, like the 3 different plants in this pot. Hi, Pearl. Hi. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Give everybody kisses. Hi. Hi, Pearl. Hi. Hi, sweetie. So this one is a plant that I had, and it has 3 different plants, and you can see all the brown. So I'm going to trim up all that brown, and I'm going to actually separate that plant out into the 3 different plants that it is. I had made that plant a good couple years ago, or a year and a half ago, for the ladies that helped in our boutique. My friend Vicki and I, we put plants together into a planter and gave the ladies each a plant as a thank you. So you can see it's had better days. It definitely needs all of this brown stuff trimmed up here, but then seriously, it's still a great plant. There's nothing wrong with this plant. I can separate it out and it'll grow and thrive. It just needs a good trimming and good fertilizing. Okay, so I was going to show you some things over here. This is the Wandering Jew hanging baskets that I have. I have 4 of them for our porch, and I didn't clean this one up yet. I was going to show you what I do. So do you see how there's all this brown dead stuff, and then this one, it doesn't even have anything good on the end. So I take my clippers. Now remember, I'm going to take some rubbing alcohol, and my dogs are all over here. Here's my clippers. Here's my rubbing alcohol. And I'm just going to pour some on the clippers. Hopefully not get it all over my dogs too. I'm going to kind of rub it in really well, because I want to sterilize them from doing the last plant. Okay, so back to, hey, Leroy, say hi. Hi, Leroy. All right, so back to this plant. See how this one's just nothing? It doesn't have any leaves on it or anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and just totally cut that one off. We don't need that one. Now this one, it looks okay, but I wanna get all this brown dead stuff off is what and it just pulled out. So when that happens, this is exactly what I wanted to show you. When that dead stuff, when it just like breaks off like that, then I just know it's not a very strong vine, so it needs to just be cut off. But what I do with it is I take it and I go over here, just below this node. This here is called a node. And just below that node, I am going to cut it on an angle like that. And then I'm going to put it in my plant propagation station, which I'll show you in just a minute. So here it is. Get all the brown dead stuff off. I even usually rinse the leaves off in the sink, but here's what this looks like. Now over here, I have a lot of them that I've trimmed off. I'll give some to Claudia if she wants some. Otherwise, I'll just put them all in a drawer and start propagating them and give them away to friends or master gardeners or whoever wants them, or put them all in a pot. It's kind of nice if you can plant like several in a pot so that it makes the pot look a little bit fuller. But yep, I'm just pulling all this dead stuff off and then trimming it up as needed. These branches that are really long, they have to get trimmed up, but some of them can stay. And I just kind of see that one just completely fell off, but look at, so that tells me this one was already like a little broken there. You can even see where it's not even green. It was hardening off there. So that is just doesn't need to be kept. The plant does not need to keep putting any kind of effort into growing that plant or that part of the plant when it just gets cut off, and then it can put its energy in growing the healthy parts. Okay, so yeah, I will give you an update as soon as I'm done cleaning up this plant. So I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so here's all the dead leaves that I was able to get off, and I added to my pile of ones that were just weak and broke that I will put in water and work on propagating. But yep, there's all my dead leaves. And here is how pretty the plant looks now. Looks so much better without those dead leaves. And next, all I have to do is give it some fertilizer. So we used a diluted solution of the fertilizer today. We didn't want to go too heavy with everything just kind of starting to wake up. What I do is I just water it in and see how it's starting to drip out the bottom. Then I know it's time to stop. Okay, and the fertilizer, hey Julie, want to say hi to everybody? Get warm in the greenhouse. Here's the fertilizer that we bought. It's called Fox Farm Grow Big Liquid Plant Food. 644 is the combination. So it was $32 for this big jug. It was probably, it is 1 quart jug, and it was $32. But for every green watering can like this, we measured it out. It's about 1 quart. I only needed 3/4 of a teaspoon. Sorry. I only needed 3/4 of a teaspoon of the fertilizer. So it's gonna go really far. I'm gonna use it on my veggie plants that are out front. I'll show you those in just a minute. And yeah, I would highly recommend that. It's perking all the plants up very quickly. And here's the alcohol that I use to clean everything off. One other thing I forgot to tell you is when we were replanting plants that were root bound, here's all of our mess that we made today. I actually cleaned up part of it already. But as we were replanting plants that were root bound, we got rid of the soil that it was in. So it was already in a soil and completely root bound. We rinsed off the roots, made sure the roots were healthy, and put the plant in some clean, fresh soil. Okay, so I wanted to show you, these are the little pups off my spider plants that I'm gonna work on getting them to grow some roots and propagate those as well. This is my snake plant. I'm working on propagating that. Here's some of the pothos that I cut off and I'm propagating. So on my counter, I just have them in little jars, but I'll show you my really awesome propagation station, and then I'll give you an update on my tomatoes and veggie plants. So normally this is full. It's not full at the moment because I pulled out the plants that had some nice roots and started putting them in pots. I still have a few more to work on. You can see like this one here has some roots. That means it's ready to go into a pot with some dirt. But as I trim up plants, then I just stick it in here and propagate and make more plants. And these little ones, so this I bought off Etsy. Love this propagation contraption, and I bought it off Etsy. This one down here I bought off Amazon. You notice the vials are much smaller, but I do want to show you, like these are getting roots, so they're ready to go into a pot as well. And I wasn't as happy with that one. The vials are just too small. They need more water. I like to change the water out about every couple of weeks just to give more oxygen to them with the oxygen in their water. Over here are a couple of house plants that I have that I did put actually in the house. They'll move out to the porch once it gets warmer. But here's another little propagation station that I have. So this one, you can see some of these are ready to get potted as well. This was a fun one that I actually just got like at a little boutique-y kind of store, but I'm pretty sure you can get that on Amazon as well. Okay, so there's some ideas for different propagations. Now, the veggie plants have moved outside. Next weekend when it gets super cold, I'll have to move them in. But right now they're outside. Here's some herbs and things that I just recently bought and didn't actually grow myself. My daughter just took a bunch of tomatoes home. But here's how they're doing. They're doing so well. I'm really excited at how well they're doing this year. These I just pulled out of the container where they were like all bunched together just like a week or so ago. So they were really bunched together, and I just didn't get around to separating them into their 4-inch pots. So they're a little behind on their growing, but these I'm just so impressed with how well they're doing. I'm going to give them some water and fertilizer today, but this is what I just didn't get around to separating out, and that's why those ones were just so much smaller. All right, so over here are some more that I grew. And then here's the peppers. Now the peppers I never separated, and they're doing fine the way they are. They're in their little containers and they're doing fine. I'm probably not even gonna worry about separating them until I give some of those peppers away, but and until I'm ready to put them in the ground. But they seem to be doing fine in their little trays versus their 4-inch pots. So yeah, this is what our crazy front porch looks like right now. It is filled with veggie plants. It's like I'm having a little veggie market, a veggie plant market or something here. But yeah, that's what it looks like right now. All right, thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye. Here's an update of our porch with all of the plants out of the greenhouse now. You can hear my chicken crowing. It's early in the morning. And here's all the pretty plants out on the porch. They're looking great, doing well. It's just been a little bit chilly at night, but they've been doing okay. Okay, thanks for watching my plant update. Have a great day.